Audience research is the gathering of information based upon a specific audience for a television show or radio program. I have previously used this when I was making the pitch for my music video, as I had to research what my target audience was listening to. Audience data is the specific measure and results of the amount of people who currently watch a specific television program or a radio program. Audience data can be found using primary research. An example of this would be using a questionnaire, as you would want to know specific amounts. I have previously used this when making my music video, as I watch videos to see the number of people who have already watched this video. Audience profiling is when you gather specific detailed information of your target audience's characteristics, attitudes and behaviours as a whole, rather than asking individuals. Audience profiling is found using a form of primary research, like questionnaires, as you want to ask as detailed questions as you can. I have previously used this when developing an idea for my multi-camera production, as I had to keep in mind who my audience were to make it appeal to them more. Demographics research is used to investigate the population based on certain factors such as age, race, gender, their income level, and sometimes employment. Demographics is found using a survey. This is a form of quantitative data, as you would ask specific types of questions to gather the types of information that you are looking for. I will use demographics when researching my chocolate bar. When researching for my chocolate bar advert, as I would need to know specific data of the audience's likes and dislikes towards chocolate and what they are more likely to buy when buying chocolate. Geodemographics research is the description of the population according to where they live. This is so that the researcher can profile the population's characteristics properly. Geodemographics is typically found using observation, as you would want to know what the population does on a day-to-day basis, as you would want to gather correct information. This is a type of qualitative research. Geodemographics was used when I made a magazine show aimed at a British audience that was mainstream. This is because I had to see the likes and dislikes of my audience in order for me to be able to make the show more appealing to them. Consumer behaviour is a study which is used to be able to understand the reasons as to why a consumer purchases certain items but will not purchase other items. Consumer behaviour is found using questionnaire, as you would want to know in-depth reasons about the consumer as to why they buy the product or not, so that you are to make the product appeal more to them. This is a type of qualitative data. I will use this when I make my advert, as I would want to know the types of chocolate that are currently appealing to my audience, so that they are more likely to buy it. Consumer attitude is when the people of a certain group feel one way about a product compared to another product. This could affect the marketing of the product that they don't like. Consumer attitude is found using focus groups to gather qualitative data, as they would want to know the in-depth reasons as to why they do not like the product, and to understand their opinions of that product as to why they don't buy it. I have used this research when I made the pitch for my music video, as my fellow classmates gave their feedback to my idea to help improve the idea and make it more appealing to the audience that we were given. Audience awareness research is for the researcher to be able to convey the awareness of a new product that they are currently trying to sell to their target audience. Audience awareness uses focus groups as a way to narrow down ideas and ways to get the attention of their audience, as they would want to know the fastest way for them to sell and gather the audience's attention towards this product. This is a type of qualitative data. I will use this when researching different types of documentaries, as I want to be aware of the types of documentaries my audience currently watch and the topics that they would be interested in watching. Market research. Market research is a process of collecting valuable information to help you find out if there is a current market for your product. This helps make profitable business decisions in making the product. I will be using market research when I make my chocolate advert, as I would need to see how similar chocolates have been advertised and marketed so that mine is marketed in the best way possible. Product market research is when the product that they have been producing is finally produced and then sold on to households of a certain market and target audience. Product market research will be found through qualitative research, as you would want to observe what the households have currently bought and what certain products they have. I will use this when making my pitch for my chocolate advert, as I would need to keep the audience in mind for the best way for me to be able to sell my chocolate in the best way possible to my audience. Competition research is when companies who have produced a similar product are trying to sell their products in the best way for the audience to increase profits. Competition research is found using primary research. A type of primary research that would be used would be interviews or questionnaires, as you would like to ask the consumer who they previously bought products from and why they bought the product from them. I have used this when presenting the idea for my music magazine show, as my fellow peers gave me feedback about the ideas and asked me questions about my idea as to why I thought that would be best for the target audience. Competitor analysis is a strategic way for researchers to find the strengths and weaknesses of the opposing companies and use the weaknesses against them. Competitor analysis is found using secondary research in the form of looking at other companies' websites, as you would like to see where they were successful in selling products and where they were not so successful in selling their products. I would use this when making my chocolate advert, as I would want it to stand out from other adverts that have been previously made for that certain chocolate bar, as I need it to sell quickly to the audience. Advertising placement research is a group of units which an advertiser can research and then choose where they would like to place their advert. A way to find this would be through a questionnaire or interview, as you would want to know when your audience are more likely to watch TV or listen to the radio, so that your advert will be heard or seen by that audience. I will use this when making the idea for my advert, as I would want my advert to be aired during primetime TV so that the whole family and my specific audience can see the chocolate. Advertising effects is where the companies will use adverts as a way of connecting and communicating to the audience that offers information about the products they are making and the ideas of the product. Advertising effects will be found using a focus group, which is a form of qualitative data, as you gain different opinions on the effects of advertising from a large group of people. I'm going to use this when making my advert, as I will need to look at other adverts to see the effect they have on the audiences. For example, the increase of sale. Production research is when the producer gets a researcher to gather the information that they need that will match the audience of their product. In my project of making an advert for chocolate, I would watch other Cadbury adverts and see what were most viewed by the audience, especially my target audience. Content researching involves the product team deciding what ideas would be best to put towards their new product. Content would typically be found using secondary research. For example, you would look at previous products and see what was sold and what was not to the audience that they are trying to sell it to. I have used this when deciding the ideas for my music video and when making the pitch, as I needed to see what would immediately stand out to my audience in order for them to listen to the music video and watch it. Viability in production research is when you decide whether the product you are trying to sell will be successful. Viability would be found using primary research. For example, a survey would be used to see why people buy that product. I will use this when making the chocolate advert, as I would want to know the viability and the successfulness of the chocolate bar when using previous adverts. Placement media research is when the company looks into different ways of advertising their product. For example, they could advertise on a billboard, in a on TV, or on the radio. Placement media is secondary research. The technique that would be used is interviews or focus groups, as you would like to get the audience to tell you where they are most likely to see or hear an advert. The purpose of this would be to make sure that the advert is placed somewhere the audience are more likely to hear or see it, so that the product is advertised in a way that their target audience will want to buy it. Finance research is when a company manages the money that will be needed when making a product or the production of making the product. The company will look over managing companies to see who got the best reviews when it came to managing money in order for them to have the best results. This is a form of secondary research. I have used this when making a pitch for my music video, as I need to know the breakdown, as I only had a $99 budget. Cost research is vital, as the company would want to know how much they would spend when making the product and when they have to advertise the product. Cost is secondary research, and the technique that would be used would be surveys, as you would want to see the best possible ways to advertise, but the cheapest way to do it without spending too much money. I have previously used this when it came to transport for making my video, as I needed to know the amount of people coming and the prices it would be to travel to the locations that I would be using for the music video. Technological resources consist of software such as music, videos, text, and designs, which allow you to have complete control over the product that you are making. Technological resources is typically found using secondary research. The technique that would be used would be interviews to see the best way to get all the items that would be needed for the production. I use this when making my music videos. I had to place the music and shots in time so it flowed well. I will also use this when making an advert, as my music and graphics should match. Personal research is when the company gathers a group of researchers to put together and provide them information that will be useful when making decisions for their product. Personnel is found using primary research, as a technique that would be used would be interviews, as you would want to see that person up front and how well they can do that job. I used this previously when I researched all the jobs for the multi-camera production, as I needed to understand who I would work well with in gathering information that I would need. Locations research is when the company decides where they would shoot their production or their advert, as they would want to know the best area to do so. Locations would be found using observation, as you would want to see the area beforehand to check that this is the place that you would like to film. This is a form of qualitative research. I have already used this when researching locations that I would use for my music video, as I wanted it to appeal to my audience. So I used places like Westfield,